Hey everyone, Winslow here. Welcome back to Prove Your Worth. Today I am going to be getting the artifacts needed to go up after the dragon. We're starting in the swamp cave, and as usual in caves, Megatherium is going to be your best friend. I especially like this cave because of the staggering amounts of experience that you get inside of it. Because experience is based on the level of the target that you're killing. So it's a good way to power level your Megatheriums if you're breeding a lot of them, which I happen to be. So I will be coming in here quite a bit over the coming week. We have 4 artifacts to get today for the Dragon Arena. And the first one here is in the Swamp Cave. Now this is located in the Redwood. This happens to be right outside of my treehouse at the little pond in the southwest section of the Redwoods. This is a great place to come in and get experience. You do need a gas mask or a scuba tank to be safe in here because there is poison. The air is toxic. And also it's full of leeches. So stay on a mount. Let your mount get the leech, not you. It's wise to bring a backup gas mask or scuba tank because there are arthropleura here, and while the Megatherium's body will do a relatively good job of blocking the majority of their acid spit, if they attack from behind, which they are known to do, and you take a full force hit from it, it can bust your gas mask pretty quickly because it has relatively low durability and no armor. The Swamp Cave is also a nice place to come to get a lot of leech blood, which is useful in making the lesser antidotes, which will cure the mega rabies you can get from Megalania and from the bats. There are also 3 cave drops. The first room with the leeches typically has a blue drop. The second room with the leeches has either a red or a yellow. And then this room here, this last room with the leeches, in 2 different spots can spawn red. I've only ever seen red here, and they respawn pretty quick. Since they are cave drops, they are typically higher loot quality than the supply drops outside. And because of the central location and the relative ease of this cave with the Megatherium, this is one of the better ways to farm cave drops if you are looking for high-level saddles, weapons, or blueprints. There's also some explorer notes that can be found inside, which will give you a very nice experience boost while you're clearing out the various rooms. Be very mindful in the cave in any of the watery sections. They're very shallow pools that you can't see in, and they're generally filled with leeches. The leeches like to live under the mesh, so they will not aggro to you while in a Megatherium. You have to attack something else or hop off of your mount for them to aggro, but then they're pretty easy to take out. Now, if a leech attaches to you, you have to remove it with fire. If it attaches to a mount, you can just use the radio menu to pull it off. In single player, the best way to remove it from yourself is to jump on a campfire. Now this cave is a big loop, but at the end here, it'll be too small for your mount to go through. But there are not really ever any enemies, any bugs or anything up this part of the cave. Just follow it up to the top, and then you've got the artifact of the immune. I returned home and made some lesser antidote with the leech blood that I found in the swamp cave, because in this cave you can only travel on foot, and there are bats inside. So it's a good idea to just use an antidote before you engage anything, because it gives you immunity to rabies for 3 minutes. So this cave is dark and cramped and has spiders and bats inside of it. Many of the corridors you have to crouch through, but everything here can be easily taken out with a shotgun. When walking through the tunnels in the northwest cave, watch out for gaps in the floor. If you fall into one of those, it is an instant death drop. So, watch your surroundings. Part of what makes this cave difficult is because the bats will do a knockback for you. They will swarm you and knock you around. And if you are attacking them near one of the drops, they can easily push you off to your death. Up ahead is the artifact, and there is a death drop right to the right of it. Now, the artifact itself will block any ranged attacks going through it. So, any of the bats that are in this room, you will have to body pull out because you won't be able to hit them while the artifact is up. But just drop down to this safe little ledge, collect your artifact, and be on your way. Next, we have the Snow Cave, which is just southeast of the Blue Obelisk along the river. You'll see it on a hillside next to some little icebergs. And going inside, there are no enemies until you go through the little crawl space there. But this next room is pretty packed. I prefer to use a Uranus here inside this cave because its fear roar will pull Perlovia out of their buried status, which is super helpful because then they cannot knock you off of your mount. The Yudi is also tall enough that unless the Perlovia attacks from a rear angle, it's not likely going to dismount you, but it still can happen. But the other benefit is the Uranus is big enough that when you dismount, you stand on top of it. Enemies inside this cave are very high level, and you will get a lot of good experience by doing a full clear of it, but they will also be harder to kill. They have higher health, they do more damage, and a lot of them utilize swarming tactics, especially the wolves. It holds dire wolves, Perlovia, polar bears, which are high level reskins of the dire bear, and yetis, which are higher level reskins of the Gigantopithecus. There is a lot of water in this cave, a lot of anglerfish and salmon. The water will do damage to you if you stand in it because it is extremely cold. It will also hurt your mount and can very quickly kill a shoulder pet, so don't get submerged if you've got your otter with you for warmth. So clearing out inside the cave with a Yudi is pretty easy with their fear roar because it can add a lot of control to the swarming environment. It can make an entire pack of dire wolves just turn and run. It'll also make the yetis turn and run, and the Perlovia and the bears take 2 roars to be fully feared. But when they're partially feared, they take increased damage. So it's a good way to make the little guys run away and then do extra damage to the bears and the Perlovia. If you happen to get dismounted by a Perlovia, if you get knocked out and fall off your Yudi, the only thing you can do is just sit and wait. There's nothing you can do. They don't do a lot of damage on their own, but they do a lot of armor shredding damage. So they likely, if you get knocked off, you'll be fine once, but your armor will take a lot of damage. Strangely enough, in this cave, the Yudi is small enough to fit through almost the entire cave. I only had to cryopod him just a couple of times. I forgot to bring a pickaxe to clear out these crystals, so I just cryoed him and hopped over with a grapple. but there's only one spot that he's too big to fit through. So going through on a UD, you'll be relatively safe. For right now, I would like to thank you for watching this far into the video. I genuinely appreciate it. If you've made it this far, I would also like to ask if you would consider subscribing, liking, or commenting, or looking at other videos that I have in my library. Subscribing is completely free and there is no obligation involved with that. The videos may show up on your feed, but it's based on, other videos you've watched. I am trying in 23 to get to 1,000 so that I can hit that milestone with YouTube. By subscribing, other things that I do on the channel, including text polls and images that I post, will show up on your feed if you are viewing on mobile. I don't think it works on desktop or on the TV. There are a total of 10 potential drop points inside the snow cave, but I find that their spawning and loot quality is less reliable than the swamp cave. Plus, this place is annoying. It's really annoying. This video took me an hour for this cave. So this isn't the place to go for drops. It is a place to go for good fishing though. On normal settings, you can't fly in this cave, but even when you can set that to fly, the Prolovia will still jump up to the ceiling to dismount you, and that's not very nice. I would also recommend not taking like a Thylacoleo or a Megalania that can climb on the walls. A rock drake is too big really to fit in here if you bring it over, but it'll still dismount you if you're climbing on the walls. So the cave gets colder the further in you go, so I usually will bring an otter, and you can also bring Freya curry or Enduro stew. If you are too cold, the stew will regenerate some of your health, and the curry will provide you 50 cold insulation. And also the otter can carry an artifact. If it happens to respawn, you can come out of here with 2. Once safely at the artifact, just hop off your UD, collect it, and then you can be on your way home. The fourth and final cave that we will be going in today for the last artifact is the Caverns of Lost Hope. It is on the eastern shore of the island, just a little bit offset to the north of the swamp, where the swamp meets the ocean. I would say that the only creature that you should bring in here is a high health, fully imprinted, high armor saddled Basilosaurus. It is the only thing that you would want to bring in here, with the exception of a Manta or an Ichthyosaurus that has lots of movement speed trained if you are planning on just speeding past everything. But a Basilosaurus is going to be really your best bet for survival in here. The reason why isn't because of the alpha that's here. It's because of all of the other sharks. With TLC 3, sharks got a boost, got kind of a soft pack boost. Now they rolled back one of the changes, which was the Gnash or the Gash. It's similar to the Allosaur bite, which slows you and bleeds you. Because of the high level creatures here and the, I don't want to say low output level damage from a Basilosaurus, but the high damage resistance that packs of sharks get when there's like 6 or more. They have like a 75% damage reduction when there's 6 or more. So if they're all level 200 plus, it's going to take you a minute. And they do more damage when they're in a pack, and they take less damage. So there's a couple spots in here that I got pretty low on health, and you have to sit and you have to force feed to recover that health. This is my least favorite cave in existence in Ark. All the maps. This is the one I dislike the most. And it's entirely because of the megalodons, just because of the boost that they get, which, I mean, it's kind of cool. I like that they did an update for megalodons and made them more of a danger. Sure. And I like that they rolled back a lot of the original change, because there was a period of time where you could not do this cave. On any level creature that you came in, you would be dead in under a minute, no matter what you tried to do. Sometimes there's some spots where like 12 sharks pop out, and they come out of the walls. And that sucks. And even after 3 minutes, I'm still just right at the entrance to the cave. It hasn't even switched over to cave lighting yet. The alpha is not the problem. He was only hitting me for like 6. And thankfully, he doesn't get the damage reduction or the damage increase from all of the other pack members, because that would double plus suck. Now, if you have gone ahead to Genesis 2 or Fjordur and have obtained a Shadowmane, you can do this cave in like 3 minutes, because the Shadowmane are excellent swimmers and can go invisible, and they can go through this cave completely unseen. If you don't have a Shadowmane, just go slow. Nothing here will dismount you. The squids won't pull you off. The jellies won't stun you, and the eels won't hurt you. They'll do a little bit of stamina damage to your mount, but you'll be fine. They die quick. And you can just breeze through the rest of the cave. But when there's sharks coming out, just go slow, take your time, because they will swarm you, and they will do a lot of damage to you. And I feel it's really important for anybody who's not done this, for me to repeat that as many times as I have, because it's stupid that it was designed this way, that there's sharks in the walls that pop out, and that 12 sharks will come out at a time, and that they will surround you. That's not how Megalodon would have acted, I guess. Maybe. We don't really know. Smaller sharks, like reef sharks, will swarm, but I really don't think of apex predators as a swarm. But, I mean, here, this is ridiculous. And to make it even worse, seeing as they're carnivores, if they eat a corpse, they heal to full. So while you're killing them, if you're not the one that gets the harvest, if one of these guys gets it, they heal to full. So it can be exceptionally dangerous in here. You also will want to watch out for mantas that will join in. Now those are one bite and dead, but they do a lot of damage. And then you also have to worry about the Dunkleosteus that are down here. They are normally pretty passive, but there are times where they will get involved, and they will do exceptional amounts of damage to you. They have high armor and high health, and they take a long time to kill. The one thing that I do like about this cave is you really only have to do it once. Because the dragon fight, unless you want to really do that multiple times, it's realistically just as difficult on Gamma, Beta, or Alpha. He just has more health. His fire breath attack that he does, which you'll see in an upcoming video, does the same amount of damage regardless of the difficulty. So you only really need to come in here once, maybe twice. It's not something that you'll farm for element. That's what the Megapithecus beta fight is for. You do that one to farm your element. Hour and a half is set up for 100 or so element. You can do it as many times a day as you want, as many times a day as you get all of the artifacts and the trophies for. Now, to actually head toward the artifact, you will see kind of a little opening in the floor around like a tech pillar, a big, the big cave pulsing pillars. Go down there, you'll see this glowing trench. You'll deal with more of the same, and at the end of it, you'll see another glowing trench with the artifact at the bottom of it. There's also 4 explorer notes in here, and one of the Helena Genesis Chronicle data points. There are a few spots inside the cave where you can get some loot crates, but they spawn unpredictably, and I've never really found good loot from them. Again, Swamp Cave is where you want to go for most of your cave drops, unless you're specifically looking for like a water tame saddle. You can get a Basilosaurus saddle from this cave. That's pretty much the only place you can get it from, and it sucks because you need a high level Basilosaurus saddle to really succeed. Now, if you're in multiplayer, it's smart to come in here with a friend, with a mate boosted pair of Bassies, because they will take less damage and do more damage to everything around you. Plus, you've got another person there to also do damage to everything. The Rockwell Explorer note is right here. And then I like to just make sure that there's nothing else that's hiding in the walls that's going to come out and bother me. I like to be dismounted as briefly as possible when in caves and when in water in general. But with it all clear, feel free to collect your artifact and head back home. If instead you want to explore the rest of the cave, you can head back out the way you came, and the remainder of the cave will have fewer sharks than the entrance, but we'll have mosasaurs and squids. But they're much easier to deal with. And you also get the benefit of getting black pearls from the squids. There is also a section with open air. You can get out and walk around. That is going to be where your Helena data point is that you need for the Genesis Chronicles. There are mostly bats and dung beetles and some scorpions. But it's pretty easy to clear that part to get your data point. As a last note, which I don't think I've covered before, you can't tame anything in caves for the most part. So don't waste your resources trying to tame these things. So I've got all the artifacts now that I need for the dragon fight. I am going to be working on getting the remaining trophies and breeding up the herbivores I'm going to be taking. I appreciate your time and watching this video, getting to this point, and Happy New Year. And we will catch up next time. Take care.